What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Sorry for the lack of content over the last few days. I've been pretty busy, and I also just didn't want to force out a video of something completely random, just so there's something out there. I wanted to at least, prepare some things and, make sure that I'm putting out quality content. So today I'm actually looking at something that is kind of a weird video for me to make, because it's a rumor of a failed trade between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm guessing before they signed TJ Brodie. Now, I'm also on the fence of, do I really believe this, because it's not coming from, a verified source. But at the same time, I'm going to take this rumor or this, trade that didn't happen, and I'm going to turn it into an opinion piece, because it's actually something that I suggested a pretty long time ago. It's something that I talked about, two teams that could be linked together. And to be fair, they have been. And this player, David Savard from Columbus, and this player from Toronto, Alex Kerfoot, this type of deal has been something that would have made sense. And I kind of want to look at why something around this, idea could have made sense, and why this trade could have been a possibility. So if you are new to this channel and you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And like I said, if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed, make sure to do so. But basically, I was, told about this, and I hadn't really heard it, like I said, from verified sources, not sources that I go out there and get myself, but reading from the top guys in the league that bring out trades and the rumors and stuff like that. So I wasn't really sure if I should talk about this, but anyways, it was basically the Leafs going after a top four defenseman and Columbus going after more scoring. Of course, Columbus has addressed some of that. They went after Max Domi, and of course the Leafs addressed that with guys like Mikko Lehtinen and TJ Brodie. So this would have made sense, but basically, what you're going to see here is the proposed rumor on the screen, and the proposed trade talk. So this is coming from NHLTradeRumors.me. Again, this is just the site that I found the rumor on, so it could be in other places. I just wanted to give a shout out to the website, because this is where I was linked to. So if this is somewhere else with a verified source, please let me know. But something like this is not going to happen. So obviously it shows here that the Leafs have been busy this offseason going after, quite a few guys and addressing some areas of need. So according to sources close to the Leafs organization, and this threw me off right away, because I was like, okay, now how accurate is something like this? Is this really, something that happened? But again, the team discussed Alexander Kerfoot with the Blue Jackets in exchange for defenseman David Savard. The Leafs wanted apparently more in this deal. Now, the reason why that would make sense is because Kerfoot does have a few years left, 3 years left on his deal at $3.5 million. So that's, security for a pretty good centerman or winger, depending on where you want to use him. And Savard only had 1 year left with just over $4 million for his average annual value. So Columbus would have a guaranteed player at a good number for the next 3 years, whereas the Leafs would have, Savard for one season and, would have to renegotiate after, and he would definitely be getting a raise over his $4 million. Savard is widely known as a defensive-style defenseman, and we'll get into that in a second, but something like this would have made sense. To me, it probably would have been like Kerfoot for Savard and a decent pick. I do believe that people have Kerfoot's value a little messed up. I really do believe that Kerfoot's much better than people are perceiving here. Now, the Leafs probably could have threw in a, maybe prospect into this trade, so that way, you're balancing out some of the value. But to me, it would have made sense if Columbus would have had something attached to this deal to entice the Leafs more, even though I do think that a trade like this would make sense. And there's probably going to be a lot of people here saying you're overvaluing Kerfoot, but I don't think I am. And the reason why I'm going to say that is we're going to look at his numbers. Now, Leaf fans, for some reason, are really on Kerfoot. This year he dealt with a lot of injuries, and like people seem to forget he's only 26. Like he's not like an older player. Like he's still fairly young. And looking at his numbers, his first 2 seasons there with Colorado, he put up really good numbers. And in a full season with Toronto, obviously, if he played closer to the 79 game range, he probably would have been in the 35 point range, maybe even a little bit more. But he also was dealing with injuries. He played with injuries as well. I really like Kerfoot. He's fast. Some people seem to think he's not physical and he shies away from any sort of physical play, but Kerfoot actually has, gotten in the corners quite a bit. And again, this isn't just a straight roast of Leaf fans, but Leaf fans, they pick on certain players, and regardless of what they do, they'll just pick on them for no reason, which, just letting you know, those players don't care. They go on social media and they just diss these players all night long. You have to look at both sides of everything. There's players that I'm not a big fan of that I can recognize good aspects of their game, but some fans just completely ignore that and just crap all over everything. But Kerfoot has good numbers, and a 3-year deal, that actually holds some weight in a trade, because $3.5 million for a guy that can give you 40 plus points, can play the center position, can play the wing, and can be a second or third line player for any team is quite good. Kerfoot is definitely undervalued. Now, looking at David Savard, he's definitely known as a defensive defenseman. His overall numbers this year took a step back in terms of his production. 11 points in 68 games played, including no goals, but he definitely focused on his defensive side of his game this year, although that kind of took a step back as well. He had some really good areas defensively, but for a trade like this, the Leafs would have really valued other aspects of his game, and that's kind of what I wanted to bring up here. So he's a long-time Columbus Blue Jacket. He's definitely a hard guy to play against, as you can see here. Difficult to play against, defensive force, block shots. He'll do whatever. Any offense is a bonus. So basically his defensive side of his game is really his bread and butter. This is what makes him who he is. He's, tough to play against because how he plays below the hash marks. John Tortorella often says that about him, which John Tortorella, regardless of what you think of him, fantastic coach. He definitely knows what he's talking about. But so obviously playing in 70 games didn't score, but that really doesn't matter to me. Again, I really value the way that he plays defensively. One of the harder defensemen in the league to play against. Obviously, he had a good pairing there with Vladislav Garakov. They played amongst a bunch of different defensive pairs in the 400-minute range. So they place 16th in the league in allowing 2.13 expected goals per 60 minutes per moneypuck.com. And I know that people don't like some fancy stats, but this is quite good. They played very well together, and they didn't allow a ton of goals. 16th in the league for defense pairings. Not bad for a team that I think Columbus wasn't looked at as a team that wasn't going to be good this year, but I don't think a lot of people were banking on them being a great team because they've lost some players. I mean, it seemed like a century ago, but they've lost some players, and they took a little bit of what people thought would be a step back, but they really didn't. Also, right here, elite shot blocker. Okay, Savard blocked 163 shots during the regular season. That's a personal best and the second most in Columbus Blue Jackets history. He added 44 more shot blocks in 10 postseason games. That's an average of 4.4, all right, per game. So he blocks a ton of shots. Look at this. Among the players to play more than 15 minutes against Savard this year at 5-on-5, and that's very important, and not be on the ice for a goal against Alexander Ovechkin, Panarin, Aho, Eichel, Couturier, Larkin, and Gallagher. Those are some pretty elite names, of course, highlighted by two guys that are basically in the MVP conversation and legitimately MVP caliber players. Definitely got some cool stuff here. Played 20 minutes per game, and again, that's the kind of horse that you want, a guy that can play that much. He probably would get a little bit more ice time in Toronto, but any defenseman that plays over 20 minutes is going to be a valuable guy in your top 4. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up something like this is because I do believe that towards the trade deadline, the Toronto Maple Leafs could get creative, and I'm wondering if something like this could be revisited or, visited in the first place, because anytime that you can give a team, what they're looking for, Columbus might be looking for more offense, the Leafs might be able to shed some of that in order to get a defenseman, or maybe Columbus isn't in a good spot, or vice versa. Who knows? Maybe the Leafs aren't in a good spot. But something like this could be revisited or visited, like I said, in the first place. Take it with a grain of salt. But I think that this probably would have been a good move for both sides. And who knows? Maybe it still happens. I don't think so. But because it looks like Columbus has made their choice. It looks like Toronto has made their choice. Columbus traded away a defenseman. The Leafs obviously traded away 2 forwards already. And I don't know. I really like Kerfoot, and I was kind of hoping that he would stick around because I think that he does have more value than Leaf fans have seen. And this year, hopefully, Leaf fans will get to see that true value. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. Again, could be something that could be revisited, or like I keep saying, visited in the first place. Take these rumors with a grain of salt. I didn't make it up. This is just what was sent to me. Hey, do you want to talk about this? Sure. So yeah, anyways, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.